The signal from beyond. The soft hum of machinery filled the command deck of Orbital Station Artemis as Lieutenant Cassandra Way stared at her monitor, trying to make sense of the anomalous signal pattern. After 8 hours on shift monitoring deep space communications, her eyes burned from fatigue. But this was different. This wasn't human in origin. "Commander Reyes," she called, her voice breaking the quiet efficiency of the bridge. "I'm detecting something unusual." Commander Elena Reyes, veteran of the Mars Rebellion, and now leader of humanity's most advanced deep space monitoring station, moved swiftly to Way's station. At 45, Reyes carried herself with the confidence of someone who had seen humanity's expansion beyond Earth and survived its growing pains. "Show me," she said, leaning over the console. Way pointed to the repeating mathematical sequence on her screen. "It's been transmitting for 3 hours now. Definitely artificial, definitely not one of ours. The pattern contains prime numbers and what appears to be coordinate data." Reyes studied the sequence, her expression unreadable. Humanity had colonized Mars and established outposts on Europa and Titan, but in all their expansion, they had never encountered intelligent alien life. Until now. "Have you isolated the source?" she asked. We nodded. The TOS-CT system, approximately 12 light-years away. Based on signal degradation, it was transmitted about 11 years ago. "A decade-old message," Reyes murmured. "Whatever prompted it might be long resolved." Dr. Marcus Chen, the station's xenobiologist, joined them, his eyes widening as he studied the pattern. "This is remarkable," he said. "A mathematical basis suggests a civilization at least as advanced as our own. And look here," he pointed to a recurring sequence. "This has all the hallmarks of a distress call." Reyes straightened. "Get me Admiral Donovan at Earth Command." 24 hours later, Commander Reyes stood in the briefing room of the UES Horizon, Earth's newest deep space vessel equipped with experimental FTL drives. Around her were the captains of 4 other ships that would form humanity's first contact fleet, the destroyers Valkyrie and Sentinel, the science vessel Galileo, and the medical ship Hippocrates. Admiral Donovan's hologram flickered at the head of the table. "This is unprecedented," he said. "After decades of searching, we finally detected intelligent life, and their first message to us is a call for help." "A call that's 11 years old," Captain James Rivera of the Sentinel pointed out. "Whatever emergency prompted it has likely been resolved." "Perhaps," Donovan conceded. "But this remains humanity's first opportunity to make contact with an alien civilization. Commander Reyes will lead the mission." Reyes nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. "Our primary objective is to establish peaceful contact. If they're still in distress, we offer assistance. The fleet will maintain defensive capabilities but present a non-threatening posture." Dr. Chen activated a holographic display of the TOS-CT system. "Our target is the 4th planet. Early scans show it has a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere similar to Earth, though with lower gravity and higher humidity. Remember," Reyes continued, "we evolved on what scientists now classify as a death world. High gravity, extreme weather, dangerous predators. If these aliens developed on a more hospitable world, they may find us physically intimidating. First contact protocols will be essential." The journey to TOS-CT took 3 weeks using the experimental FTL drives. When they arrived, the fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation, their sensors immediately scanning the system. Multiple artificial structures detected in orbit around the 4th planet. Lieutenant Way reported from her new station on the Horizon's bridge. "Signs of an advanced civilization. But I'm also detecting debris fields." Captain Rivera's voice came through the comms. "The debris appears to be remnants of spacecraft. Some destruction looks recent, perhaps only months old." Reyes frowned. "It seems whatever emergency prompted that signal might not be over. Open a communication channel using the first contact package." The carefully crafted message, containing mathematical principles, simple images, and basic linguistic patterns, was transmitted toward the planet. The response came with surprising speed. "Commander," Wei said, her eyes wide. "They're responding in English." A soft, melodic voice emerged from the speakers. "Unknown vessels, this is Orbital Command of Estrella. Your language patterns match our historical records. Identify yourselves and state your intentions." Reyes took a deep breath. "This is Commander Elena Reyes of the..." Reyes took a deep breath. "This is Commander Elena Reyes of the United Earth Ship Horizon. We received your distress signal and have come to offer assistance." A long pause followed. "Distress signal. That was transmitted 11 cycles ago, when the Varaxian Empire first attacked our outer settlements. You are from Earth, the third planet of the Sol system." "That's correct," Reyes confirmed. Another pause. "Request permission to send a diplomatic vessel to your location. We have much to discuss." An hour later, Reyes, Chen, and Wei stood in the Horizon's docking bay as the airlock cycled. When the door opened, they had their first glimpse of an alien species. The three beings that entered were slender and tall, with iridescent pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the lights. Their four-fingered hands moved with graceful precision, and their large, almond-shaped eyes blinked slowly as they adjusted to the ship's lighting. They moved carefully, as if the ship's gravity was uncomfortably strong. "Greetings," said the foremost alien, its voice musical and soft. "I am Ambassador Ilara of the Astrian Conclave. With me are Science Director Thelos and Defense Coordinator Lyra." Reyes stepped forward. "Welcome aboard the Horizon. I am Commander Reyes. These are Dr. Chen and Lieutenant Wei." The aliens studied the humans with evident fascination. Science Director Thelos moved forward with a device that helped support his frame in Earth normal gravity. "You are exactly as our historical records described," Thelos said. "We feared you might be merely legend." Chen couldn't contain his curiosity. "You knew of humans before today?" Lyra nodded, the movement strangely fluid. The distress signal was not randomly broadcast. It was specifically directed to Earth. "Our ancestors believed that if any species could help against the Varaxians, it would be the Deathworlders of Sol." "Deathworlders?" Wei asked. Ilara looked surprised. "You do not know. Your planet, Earth, is classified as an extreme death world, a planet with conditions so harsh that most spacefaring species would perish within days. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, toxic components in your atmosphere, dangerous predators, and harmful radiation levels." The humans exchanged glances. To them, Earth was simply home. "You evolved in conditions that would kill most intelligent life in the galaxy," continued Thelos. "Your physical resilience is remarkable to us." Reyes guided the conversation back to practical matters. "You mentioned the Varaxians. Are they still a threat?" Lyra's expression darkened. "They have conquered 3 neighboring systems and demand our unconditional surrender. The war has been ongoing for 11 cycles. We are losing." "That explains the debris fields we detected," Wei said quietly. "Perhaps we should continue this discussion somewhere more comfortable," Reyes suggested. "We have much to learn from each other." In the ship's conference room, the Astrians explained their situation in detail. The Varaxian Empire had been expanding aggressively, conquering peaceful worlds that lacked military strength. Most spacefaring species in this region of the galaxy had evolved on gentle worlds with minimal environmental hazards, developing advanced technology, but lacking the physical resilience and combat instincts that humans took for granted. "Our technology is actually more advanced than yours in many areas," Thelos explained, "but the Varaxians have numbers and aggression we cannot match." As they spoke, an alarm sounded throughout the ship. "Commander," came an urgent voice over the comms. "Unidentified vessels approaching at high speed, not matching Astrian configurations." Lyra stood quickly. "Varaxian scout ships. They must have detected your arrival." "Battle stations," Reyes ordered calmly. "Defensive positions. All ships, prepare for possible engagement." The Astrians watched in amazement as the humans efficiently prepared for combat. On the main screen, they could see 3 dark, angular vessels approaching rapidly, their weapons already powering up. Without warning, the lead Voraxian ship fired on the horizon. The shields absorbed the impact, barely registering damage. "Target their weapon systems," Rise commanded. "Disable, don't destroy if possible." The Horizon fired a precise shot that struck the Voraxian ship's main weapon array. Before the alien vessel could react, a second shot disabled its engines. The other human ships engaged the remaining Voraxian scouts with similar efficiency. The entire exchange had taken less than 40 seconds. The Astrians stared in shock. Ambassador Ilara turned to Rise with new respect in her large eyes. 11 years ago, we sent a desperate call to a planet of legendary warriors, she said quietly. It seems the legends were true. Unknown to them, the disabled Voraxian scouts had transmitted footage of the brief battle back to their fleet. In a command center many light years away, a Voraxian war chief watched the recording with growing concern. "New species," he growled, his scaled skin darkening with anger. "Identify them immediately." His intelligence officer worked quickly. "The vessels originate from the Sol system, 3rd planet, a world classified as extreme death-level habitat." The war chief's eyes narrowed. "Deathworlders. How interesting. Prepare the battle fleet. We shall see how these newcomers fare against true Voraxian might." The wheels of conflict were now in motion, and humanity had just announced its presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. Deathworlders unleashed. News of the Voraxian scouts' defeat spread quickly through the Astrian command center. Aliens with iridescent blue skin moved with renewed energy, their large eyes bright with hope for the first time in years. Commander Reyes stood with Ambassador Ilara, watching a massive holographic display of nearby star systems. Red markers showed Voraxian-controlled territory, far more than Reyes had expected. "They have conquered 15 systems in the past 11 years, Ilara explained. "We are among the few who still resist. Why haven't other worlds united against them?" Rise asked. "Fear," Defense Coordinator Lyra answered, joining them. "Most species in our region evolved on gentle worlds. When faced with Voraxian aggression, they surrender rather than fight." Dr. Chen studied the biological data on the Voraxians that the Astrians had provided. Reptilian evolutionary path, enhanced exoskeletons, high pain tolerance. Impressive, but nothing we haven't seen in Earth's evolutionary history. Captain Rivera of the Sentinel had joined the briefing via hologram. "Their ships outnumber ours significantly, but their technology appears to be on par with ours, possibly slightly less advanced in weapon systems." Reyes turned to Science Director Philos. "You mentioned your technology is more advanced than ours in some areas. What specifically?" "Medical sciences, energy efficiency, computational systems," Philos replied. "But our weapons technology has always been minimal. Most species in the Conclave are philosophically opposed to violence." "A noble sentiment," Rice said, "but one the Voraxians clearly don't share." Lieutenant Wei interrupted. "Commander, we're detecting multiple FTL signatures at the edge of the system, much larger than the scout ships." Lyra's face paled. "The Voraxian battle fleet. They never respond this quickly to border incidents." "They're curious about us," Rice said. "The newcomers who handled their scouts so easily." She turned to her communications officer. "Alert all ships. Battle stations." The main view screen showed 30 Voraxian vessels emerging from FTL travel, sleek, predatory ships with obvious weapons arrays. "They're transmitting a message," Wei reported. A deep, guttural voice filled the command deck. "Attention Earth vessels. This is War Chief Krelvor of the Voraxian Empire. Your interference in our territorial expansion is noted. Surrender and submit to inspection, or be destroyed." Reyes exchanged glances with her officers before responding. "War Chief Krelvor, this is Commander Elena Reyes of Earth. We are here at the invitation of the Astrian Conclave, a sovereign civilization. We do not recognize your claim to this system, nor do we respond to threats." The Voraxian's laugh was like grinding stones. 5 ships against 30. Your bravery borders on foolishness, Commander. Last chance. Admiral Donovan authorized defensive action in support of potentially friendly civilizations, Rivera reminded Reyes through a private channel. Reyes nodded. All ships, combat formation Delta. Prepare to engage. She turned to Ilara. Get your people to safety. This is about to get messy. Our orbital platforms have defensive capabilities, Lyra offered. Limited, but they could provide support. Coordinate with Lieutenant Wei, Reyes ordered. Every bit helps. The Voraxian fleet began to advance. Their formation was aggressive but predictable. Clearly, they expected an easy victory. They're used to intimidating technologically advanced, but physically weaker species, Dr. Chen observed. They don't know what humans are capable of. Reyes smiled grimly. Let's show them. All ships, execute maneuver Epsilon 3. To the Astrians' astonishment, the 5 human vessels accelerated directly toward the Voraxian fleet, appearing to attempt a suicidal charge. At the last moment, they split into 3 groups, executing complex evasive patterns that the larger Voraxian ships couldn't match. The UES Valkyrie took a direct hit to its shields but continued its attack run, targeting the Lid Voraxian vessel's propulsion systems. The Sentinel flanked 2 enemy ships, disabling their weapons with precision fire. On the Horizon's bridge, Reyes remained standing as the ship shook from enemy fire. Status report. Shields at 82%, Wei reported. The Voraxians are splitting their fire. They didn't expect us to engage directly. Their tactics suggest they're used to enemies who retreat or surrender quickly, Rivera's voice came through the comms. The battle intensified as the Voraxians realized these new enemies wouldn't be easily intimidated. 3 human crewmen were injured when a power conduit overloaded on the Valkyrie, but they continued their duties despite burns and trauma that would have incapacitated most galactic species. A Voraxian boarding party managed to breach the Galileo's outer hull, expecting to overwhelm the science vessel easily. Instead, they encountered human security personnel in close-quarters combat. The Voraxians' physical strength was impressive, but they were unprepared for human endurance, adaptability, and sheer determination. Dr. Chen watched the Astrians' shocked reactions as humans continued fighting with broken bones and blood-soaked uniforms. Your historical records about us, he said to Thelos, were they about our technological advancement or our physical capabilities? Both, Thelos admitted. But we thought the accounts of human resilience were exaggerated for dramatic effect. Your people continue functioning with injuries that would be fatal to us. Reyes studied the tactical display. Despite their initial success, the human fleet was outnumbered 6-1. They couldn't win through conventional tactics. Lieutenant Wei, what's the composition of the 4th planet's rings? She asked suddenly. We checked her sensors. Primarily ice and silicate debris, Commander. Reyes nodded. Perfect. Signal the Valkyrie and Sentinel. Have them implement Protocol Avalanche. And get me a direct channel to War Chief Krelvor. The Voraxian's scaled face appeared on screen, his expression a mixture of rage and grudging respect. Your resistance is impressive but futile, human. Actually, Reyes replied, I wanted to ask if your species has a concept similar to what humans call checkmate. Before the confused Voraxian could respond, the Valkyrie and Sentinel fired specialized warheads not at the enemy fleet, but at specific points in the planet's rings. The resulting chain reaction sent thousands of tons of debris cascading toward the Voraxian fleet's position. Debris field, shouted a Voraxian officer behind Krelvor. Evasive action. But the human ships had positioned the Voraxians precisely. They couldn't maneuver without colliding with each other. The debris storm tore through the Voraxian formation, disabling drives, weapons, and communication arrays on 17 vessels. Now, War Chief, Reyes continued calmly, we can continue this battle, which will result in the destruction of your remaining functional ships, or you can withdraw and reconsider your position regarding the Astrian conclave. Krelvor's scales darkened with fury, but his tactical display told the undeniable truth. Half his fleet was disabled by a maneuver he hadn't even considered possible. "This isn't over, human," he growled. "The Varaxian Empire doesn't forget." "Neither does Earth," Rais replied evenly. "Remember that." The remaining Varaxian vessels gathered their disabled comrades and retreated to the edge of the system before jumping to FTL. In the aftermath, human medical teams worked alongside Astrian healers, treating injuries from both species. Ambassador Ilara found Commander Rais in the Horizon's observation deck, looking out at the stars. "Your people are remarkable," Ilara said softly. "3 of your crew continued working with injuries our physicians say should have been instantly fatal." Rais smiled. "Evolution on a death world has its advantages. We're stubborn." "The Varaxians will return with a larger force," Ilara warned. "I'm counting on it," Rais replied. "By then, Earth will have sent more ships, and we'll have had time to integrate some of your advanced technology with our weapons systems." She turned to face the ambassador. "We've spent our history fighting each other. Maybe now we can put that fighting experience to better use, protecting those who can't protect themselves." Ilara's large eyes studied Rais carefully. "You would do this, form an alliance with us against the Varaxians." "Humanity has been searching for other intelligent life for centuries," Rais said. "Now that we've found it, we're not going to stand by and watch it be conquered. Besides," she added with a smile, "I think both our peoples have much to gain from friendship." 3 days later, as the human fleet prepared to return to Earth with Astrian representatives, a message arrived from Admiral Donovan. Earth had received transmissions from 7 other alien civilizations, all asking for help against various threats, all directed specifically to humanity. "It seems," Rais told her officers, "that the galaxy has been waiting for the Deathworlders to emerge from their cradle. And now that we have, everyone wants our help." Dr. Chen grinned. "We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived ice ages, predators, diseases, and our own worst tendencies. Now we're going to put all that hard-earned experience to good use." As the fleet prepared for the journey home, dozens of Astrian ships escorted them to the jump point, flashing their lights in a pattern that Lieutenant Wei recognized from Earth's history. "It's Morse code," she said, surprised. "They're signaling. Thank you, Deathworlders." Commander Rais watched the display with pride. Humanity had spent millennia looking up at the stars, wondering if they were alone. Now they knew the truth. Not only were they not alone, but they were needed. The Deathworlders of Earth were stepping onto the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again.